Season 3 is scarily close. It's about 3 weeks away at this point, so in this video I wanted to run through all the things you should be doing in Season 2 before they're removed or it is too late to do them. First up, I wanted to quickly touch on the Dastardly duos. By the time this video comes out, it's probably already ended, so if you didn't get the rewards, well, you're out of luck. Although I wouldn't worry too much, I think this event will come back in the future, and it will probably have the rewards for you to purchase again, like they've been doing with like the Turbulent Timeways and stuff. You'll probably just have to, use more current currency or whatever to be able to purchase the old ones. Either way though, I do think it will return. Another thing to mention as well is Horrific Visions. Now based on the current PTR for 11.2, this event is still there, doesn't have some kind of like timer to say it's going to be going away, so it's kind of safe to assume this is going to be here until at least the end of the expansion, maybe further. But what we don't know about is the Feat of Strength achievements, for example doing the one where you do 8 masks in both Orgrimmar and Stormwind, you get the mount for doing that. We're not too sure when that will go away, if it's going to be 11.2, if it's going to be the end of the expansion, who knows. So I would recommend at least knocking that out now, and if you're kind of really interested in the mounts as well, I'd just grab them just in case. You never know what's going to happen. The mounts are pretty quick to pick up anyway, but I would definitely say to look to get that Feat of Strength knocked out just in case, Next up is the current M+ season. There's going to be a bunch of things for you to pick up, for example the 2 mounts, the one at 2k rating and the one at 3k rating. You're also going to have the title you can pick up, you're going to have the dungeon teleports. If you want to grab those, make sure you're getting those done on 10s, and if you're a really high-end player, you could be pushing for that 0.1% title, but chances are if you're that high rated, you probably know about the title anyway. There's also going to be the Enterprising Dungeon Master achievement to finish if you want the title Triple Threat, and that is to do the Enterprising Tank, Enterprising Damage Dealer, and Enterprising Healer achievements, which is to do all of the dungeons on 10s or higher on all 3 different roles. So that's going to be kind of tough to get done if you've not already started working on it, but it is kind of cool. So if you want to work on that, something extra to do, then do make sure you get that done before the season ends. Let's also knock out some quick miscellaneous things, for example the Puzzling Cartel chips, which you can use to purchase gear from the vendor in Donegal, and this will allow you to purchase things for your other characters or your main, get some good trinkets, things like that. But another thing you could potentially use them for as well is the Stone Vault mount, because when you get that item drop, obviously the Stone Vault's not currently available, but it will be in the future as a Mythic dungeon, and once you get the item drop, you'll need to get your hands on 3 different trinkets, and 2 of those are in the current season, meaning we can purchase those from the vendor. Another thing as well is I believe the quest is warbound, meaning you can use this to buy the trinkets on your alt characters, stock them away for the future, and then once you do get the mount drop, you can log on your alts and complete the quest on those characters. The 2 trinkets you'll want to pick up is the Synergistic Brutalizer, which is going to come from Cinderbrew, and also the Burren of the Candle King, which is going to come from Darkflame Cleft. So you could either grind those out now if you want to, or you could just purchase them from the vendor and save yourself some time if you don't plan to use your Puzzling Cartel chips. Additionally, make use of this season's catalyst charges if you haven't already. So if you've got some charges stocked up, you can turn them into various different pieces of tier gear for your characters if you want them to be a little bit stronger, or transmog as well if you want to pick up the tier pieces or the off pieces for the sets, just so you can knock out your transmog collection, because there's no point in them going to waste because next season they will be deleted. You could also consider upgrading any gear that still needs upgrading, although they have said that Valorstones will stay going into next season. So if you want to cap out your Valorstones, that's definitely worth doing. A good way of doing that each week slowly is through the checklists in Undermine, but either way you do want to consider keeping up a stockpile of your Valorstones. But the Crests will be safe to use because we will get a new season worth of Crests to spend. One other thing to note as well is they are going to disable the ability to send Valorstones to other characters in the start of the new season as well, at least currently based on the current PTR. So if you were planning to keep them to send to your main or whatever, then currently that's looking like that won't be possible. Next, let's talk about Overcharged Delves. Now this is a season 2 feature, meaning it will be disabled going into season 3. However, most of the rewards will be sticking around. For example, the belt will still be obtainable via the quest, the mount and the toy will be purchasable from the vendor instead for the undercoins, so you still will be able to get these, but I would recommend knocking this stuff out now because it is going to be easier in a sense to get it done now instead of saving up coins etc to purchase them later down the line. For the amount, what you need to do is just go through Overcharged Delves, you can spam level 1 and you just keep running it over and over again until you have enough currency to max out the passive tree. Once that is done, you will get yourself the mount. In terms of the toy, you just need to do 4 of the 6 Overcharged Delves. So just keep doing the Overcharged Delves when they pop up. And once you've done at least 4 unique Overcharged Delves, you will get yourself that toy as well. Another change coming in the new patch is going to be a new storage, a new bank that's going to have multiple tabs. Your Void Storage and Reagent tab are now going to disappear and they're going to be kind of merged into your bank. So a couple of things to think about here is first of all, picking up your Reagent and your Void Storage tab now, because I believe people have said it will be cheaper to do this now instead of purchasing the tabs in the future. But another thing to consider as well is going through your void storage. If you've got an old character that has some really cool items in there, I'd recommend just going through your void storage, grabbing that stuff out, keeping it on your character or in your bank directly, and then you're not having to deal with any shenanigans in case stuff goes missing, which there's a good chance it happens with things like this where there's an issue, the items don't get transferred properly and they go missing. So definitely consider doing that if you have some items you're kind of very fond of. You should also be looking to get the wick mount if you've not got it already. The drop chance seems pretty generous on this mount. I've seen it a ton of times. This is going to drop from Darkflame Cleft, which will not be in Season 3 and it will not be in Mythic 0. So you want to get this mount now if you are interested in getting it and you don't have it already. So do make sure you're running it on M+, because you can just spam it out on M+, do low keys like 2s and 3s, and just keep running it until you do get yourself the mount. If you are a mount collector as well, definitely be making use of the collector's bounty buff while it's still around, because this is going to end at the end of the month. And this gives you a massive boost to getting the mount drops from dungeons and raids from pre-Dragonflight. It's going to give you a 5% increased chance, and people are running these raids like crazy, so you can get into skip groups and things like that very, very easily right now. So if you don't have the mounts and you're interested in them or certain transmog pieces or whatever, definitely make use of this buff because we don't know when it will come back again. On top of that, you'll also have the Greedy Emissary event, which is going to end at the end of the month as well, and you're going to be able to get those cool tier 2 transmog set recolors. But on top of that, you're going to have that unique mount as well, which is a recolor of the Tyrael Charger mount. So if you want to get your hands on the tier 2 resets and also the Inarius's Charger and any of the other kind of transmog pieces and stuff as well, make sure you are taking part in that event to get it done. The portals for these events will open within Stormwind, Orgrimmar, Dawn or Gal, or from the rares found in Undermine. Also, they can spawn from the mobs within Liberation of Undermine as well. So as you're playing the game, you should be able to come across these fairly often, take part in the events, and you'll get your hands on the tokens needed to be able to purchase the gear or a chance for that mount drop. The next thing up isn't out yet, but by the time this video goes live, it should be very soon, and that will be the Winds of Mysterious Fortune event. And this is actually going to last until 11.2 begins and 1 week after that. So it's going to be the week after 11.2 comes out until this buff goes away, and this is going to be great. They've made it even better than it was before. So you're not only going to get that experience boost while you're leveling in the Dragonflight and the War Within zones, but you're also going to be getting those potions that you can use for bonus experience, but it also gives you bonus reputation with the Dragonflight and the War Within factions. And this time around, previously there wasn't any Undermine reps attached to it, but this time they've added Undermine. So this is the best time to get that knocked out, because you're going to have like the Dark Fuse faction, for example, it needs basically just pure grinding. So being able to get that rep boost while you're grinding is going to be massive for getting that done. So if you've not really started on those reps or you've not finished them, definitely head into Undermine, get those knocked out while there's still players there, still people doing that content, and there's the rep buff as well. You're going to blast it, so definitely make sure you're getting that done each week. The next thing to talk about is Delves. So there's going to be a few things attached to Delves that we're going to want to do. The first one up is going to be just getting your Delver's Journey done, which is the kind of progression bar where as you progress through, you'll get various rewards, and this is just from like completing Delves, etc. So grind that out. You're also going to have the season boss, the Underpin, so you want to do him on question mark and question mark if you haven't, so you can pick up like the title and the Delver's dirigible skin, things like that. So do make sure you're getting those done as well if you haven't already. Obviously, it is a little bit of a challenge, but getting it done is a cool reward. You're also going to have the Delver's seasonal mount in general. If you haven't picked it up for whatever reason, then do make sure you head to Dawn or Gal and do those quests so you get yourself the Delver's seasonal mount, and that's another mount that won't be available next season that you could potentially miss out on. Next up, let's talk a little bit about the raid. So you will have the raid reputation, but as far as we can tell, that is not going anywhere, so you will be able to complete that reputation in the future. And obviously, as we get more geared and stuff, clearing through the raid will be a lot easier. So it's up to you when you want to get it done, if you want to kind of get some progress done on it now, or you want to finish it up in the future. Completely up to you. I don't think you're in any particular rush. Similar with the two mounts that drop from Gallywix, the keys to the Big G, which comes from Mythic only, and then you have the prototype ASMR. Both of those are still going to drop at the same drop chance moving into Season 3. You'll only want to make sure you get the Big G before the end of the expansion, because then it will go from being a 100% drop chance down to that very, very low drop chance. So if you're really interested in that mount, do make sure you get it before the end of the expansion, but you're in no pressure. You can wait till Season 3 until we're overgearing it, and you can go into kind of skip groups and try and get it done there instead. And similar with the prototype, the drop chance will remain the same forever. That one's not going to change. So in the future, it will become easier to do that, but in Season 3, it will be a little bit easier as well, because we can just skip straight to Gallywix and we'll overgear the fights on all difficulties as well. However, the achievements for Ahead of the Curve, Gallywix, and Cutting Edge obviously will go away at the end of the season. So if you're interested in getting those done, do make sure you get that done before Season 3 begins. Just before Season 3 begins as well, we will also have the MOP crossover event for the MOP Classic mount. So if you do the starting area as a Pandaren before the 30th of July, you will get your hands on the Shower House Sage Serpent. So if you're interested in that mount, get yourself MOP Classic downloaded. If you've got sub on retail, you'll be able to play Classic, no problem. You don't need an extra sub. Start a Panda, go through the entire starting area, and you should unlock that mount on your retail characters. And then the final thing to touch on is PvP. Same thing as always, basically with PvP, nothing too interesting here. You'll have the Vicious Eel mounts, which will not really go away, but they'll be unavailable for a little while because the mount won't be available until it becomes a saddle mount down the line. You'll have the Gladiator's Fellbat, which is, you know, if you're cool and you can get Gladiator and you're on an average mount, you know, fair play. You'll have the elite sets if you're interested in getting those from PvP, and then you'll have the top percent titles as well. So if you want to get your normal PvP stuff done, do make sure you're doing that before the end of the season. And that is it, but that is quite a lot of stuff. It really shows you how cram-packed the patch has been in terms of stuff that's time limited or been added on top of the general content. There is a lot of stuff that you need to do considering it's a mid kind of expansion patch. That is a lot of stuff. This is kind of normally the size of the list that would be at the end of an expansion, not midway through. So I'm very interested to see what this will look like for the 11.2 moving into midnight. Is it going to be even longer? Who knows? Either way, definitely looking forward to seeing what happens. So hopefully this video was interesting to you and helps you have a list of things to do before it's too late. Look out for more guides coming soon. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.